the user is fetched from the local storage and put into the Pinia Store, which is exactly what we wanted. However, there is a problem, and it's one you can easily miss. And that is, when it comes to making authenticated requests, as long as you have a session and a CSRF token cookie, you're good to go. There's nothing else you need to do. Use the custom access instance to make requests, and everything should just work. However, our problem is that after you log in, the user is fetched from the Laravel API and put into the Pinia Store. But once we do a full page refresh, the user is gone. One way to address this is to save the authenticated user in the browser's local storage and initialize the Pinia Store with the retrieved value. So let's go ahead and create a view composable to help us do that. We'll do it right here inside the auth store, and then once we are done, we'll move it into its own file. So the way I want this to work is, instead of using the view ref function to create a reactive value, we'll use our own composable. Let's say use LocalStorage. If we think about what we would need to sync a value with the local storage, we'd need a key, let's say it's auth user, and the default value. But in our case, the default user value is undefined, so we'll omit the second argument. Let's go ahead and create the composable. I'll do function, use LocalStorage, we'll have a generic type parameter, and then we'll have the key, which is a string, and the default value, which might be undefined or of type T. Here we'll create a reactive variable based on the default value, and then simply return it. Now, if we go in the browser, things should work just as they did before. We log in, here's our user, we refresh, and the user is gone. So what we want to do is check if local storage has the key, and if that's the case, update the value, and at the same time, whenever value changes, update the local storage. To sync with the local storage whenever value changes, we can use the viewWatch function. We'll pass it the value we want to watch, and then a function we want to execute whenever we have a new value. Here we'll simply do window LocalStorage set item, and we'll pass it our key. And then, since value can be anything, we'll use JSON stringify to turn it into a string. Value could also be an object, so let's make sure we watch for property changes as well. Now, if we go in the browser and check the local storage, we have nothing. But as soon as we log in, here is our user. The next thing we need to do is check if the local storage has our key and update the value. So here we'll do const storage value equals window LocalStorage get item of key. And then if we have storage value, we'll do val value equals, and we'll need to parse the stringified value. We'll do JSON parse storage value. Now, if we go in the browser and refresh, the user is fetched from the local storage and put into the Pinia Store, which is exactly what we wanted. However, there is a problem, and it's one you can easily miss. And that is, if the user changes in a different tab or window, the user in this tab will not be updated, and that might cause some weird bugs. Let me show you. I'll create a new action in our store. I'll do function set user, u of type any. I'll just make this real quick. User.value is u. I will expose this and then go to the dashboard view, add a button, click me, then on click we'll do auth set user, and I'll pass some object here. I'll go in the browser, refresh, and once I click this button, the user is updated here, but if I go to the other tab, we still have the old user. And ideally, these two should be synchronized and show the same value. Now, fortunately, whenever the local storage is updated in a different tab or window, the browser emits an event. We can listen for that event and update the user. So I'll go to our use local storage composable and add an event listener. We'll do window add event listener, storage, and here we'll receive the event, which is of type storage event. And now we'll check if the event key matches our key. And if that's the case, we'll update val value to event new value. However, we still need to parse this. So we'll do JSON parse event new value, which can come as null, which means we'll have to provide a fallback, which is a string null. This will be parsed and turned into null. Okay. Now if we go in the browser, I refresh, we have the X here from the local storage. I'll go ahead and log in. Let's also refresh here. I'll log in. The user is now our user from the Laravel API, and if I go to the other tab, we have the same value. Let's click here again. The user is now X of 1. If I go to the other tab, the user has been updated. Now, as you might know, whenever you're adding an event listener, you also have to remove it. So we'll turn this function into a named one. Let's say handle storage event. We'll do function handle storage event, remove the arrows. And now we could remove the event listener inside an on unmounted hook. However, our composable might not be used in a component setup. And an alternative for on unmounted is on scope dispose. Here we'll do window, remove event listener, storage, handle storage event. Okay, and I think we're good to go. Let's go in the browser, refresh, log in, refresh here as well, click me. The user is now X, same as here. And here. Okay, let's go back and clean up our mess. I'll remove the setUser function. Let's also remove the comments. Inside the dashboard view, I'll remove the button. And now let's go ahead and move this function inside its own file. I'll grab it. I'll go here, create a new folder called composables. Use local storage.ts, and we'll export this. We need to import ref on scope dispose and watch. Okay. I'll do import ref on scope from view. And now we can go here and import our new composable. And that's it. Let's do one more test. Actually, I cannot test it anymore because I removed the button. Maybe I can do this, I don't know. Let's try this. Okay, it's updated here and here as well.